Got a haircut this week, so I got new shorter hair, which is kind of cool. I don't know why. I just clicked on something and all of a sudden my Zoom screen came up in front of me. Move this camera down a little bit. I'm wearing my University of Idaho sweater with a Boise State t-shirt underneath it so I can represent multiple different entities. And I'm going to do a recording a little bit later of a script that I have for a presentation that I'm preparing. And it's why I needed to get that domain name directed the right way. So, by the way, the domain is waynedorband.org. I already have waynedorband.com and waynedorband.net and several others. And waynedorband.org is not directed anywhere. It's parked, is the right word. Mark, do you have any thoughts? I mean, Kajabi, it seems easier. This is using it on this new site called Duplicate that's a lot like
Okay.
Kajabi, but it's just a different one and it's used for specific kinds of businesses. So
Okay.
I can't. I mean, have you interacted and had to change A records or DNSs for GoDaddy or from GoDaddy?
Yeah, I've done it before, but they change it all the time. So the C panel or the control
Right,
panel is yeah,
right.
it so they update it all the time. So I have to look at it and figure out what is new.
Mm.
Yep.
It's very dry here right now, and I notice, when you're doing a video, you see things, and it looks like maybe I cut myself shaving or something. I didn't. That's just that red there is a dry skin. It's just sort of a little bit reddish in color. How are all of you doing? Where is everybody in the world? Our regulars? I'm sure you guys will weigh in. Alicia is one of our regulars who travels everywhere. Who knows where she's at today? And I have several topics that I'm willing to talk about. However, this is Talk with Wayne, so you guys come up with some things. Doug and I had dinner with Doug and Marge, his wife, a couple date nights ago, and he's back up in Alaska. Actually, it was Monday night. Yeah, Monday night that we got dinner because he and Marge left for Alaska on Tuesday, and he had already come back and was going back up again. I don't know if you remember when we had him on our webinar a couple weeks, 3 weeks ago or so. He was winterizing his unit, and he showed us a map that he put down in front of the door to bear proof the front door and other things. Well, I said, well, what are you going back up for, Doug? Because he's going to only be there for maybe 2 weeks. Because it could weather could just get horrible up there anytime now. Um, and he's going there to trap. So this is going to be his trapping season, which we've talked about that with him. And when he gets back down here in December, he's actually going to have shoulder surgery right away. But let's say January sometime, we'll have him back on and we're going to do it. And he's going to show us some of the things that he does and as it relates to his trapping situation. He's talked a little bit about it before, but this time we're going to make it a show and tell where he shows us different things that he does that is in his business. And it isn't just a hobby for Doug. He has been a professional trapper since he was a teenager. So that's a lot of years. We're to the age where we don't admit how many years that is. A lot, more than 50. And so it's not just some kind of a hobby. And you may go, well, why do people trap? For one, a lot of the animals that do get trapped are ones that are overpopulated in given locations, and a lot of them are causing damage to different resources. And some of them are not natives, they're invasive species, and they really need to be controlled. Some of them, like wolves, are dangerous and they're overpopulated in certain areas. They're underpopulated in other areas, but in those places they're overpopulated. Again, they need to be controlled. Things like muskrats and badgers can be troublesome because of destroying dams or destroying different kinds of land-based circumstance, like badgers, for example. We have lots of badgers around my area. Mark, do a search real quick for just do badger, just to show
Okay.
everybody what one looks like. You'll share the screen after you find one. Just look up BADGER. They are burrowing animals, and here in Idaho, they'll go into fields where horses and cattle are, and they tend to like. There's pictures of one of several, and they're about 18 inches long. One of those that are there are probably 8 inches tall. That middle picture. They do come in a variety of colors. They can change their colors. They will get more white in the winter, and to make themselves more camouflaged. They'll be more brown in the summer, like a lot of these lower pictures are. And as you can see, there's a wide variety of types. That way over on the left shows the variety of different types. So it's all the same species. They can breed one another. There we go, types of badgers. And I'm not sure which one exactly that we have here in Idaho. They will dig holes that are this big, that they burrow into, and the hole around that burrow is this big, and it'll be in pretty heavy grass, and it'll be sort of camouflaged, so it's hard to see. So animals trip in it, humans trip in it if you're walking in a field with badgers. And I'm not even sure. Click on one of those. That there was a tree hugger site up above there, because it says, "What do badgers eat?" I'm not sure what they eat. Let's find. There was an article I saw that said, "What do badgers eat?" Click that one, that tree hugger, because it'll say surprising facts, 8 surprising facts. That's pretty much what one around here will look like. 2 pounds, as little or as much as 36. That's the size. 11 species. So that does mean that there are different species, so they can't all interbreed. If you remember, everybody, a species is defined as an organism type that when bred to something, it will produce fertile offspring. So like a horse and a donkey can be bred, and they will produce offspring, but they're not fertile. So they are different species. So let's just keep reading. They're the Mustelidae family, that also includes otters, weasels, and minks. The American badger is the only badger species native to North America. Okay. They're great excavators. Yeah, they're known for digging. That's what I was just talking about. I haven't ever, the den can be 10 feet underground. I think that's going to say as we get down. Yeah, I think that's very common. In the summer, they often dig a burrow every day. They have several burrows in their range. Their tunnels can be up to 30 feet long. Yeah, they're carnivores, and that's what I was going to see. What do they actually eat? Well, small mammals like gophers, squirrels, birds, lizards, insects. Okay. They cache food in their dens. I don't know if they hibernate. We'll see. In just a second. There's 8 of these, it says. 8 secrets. So let's just see about whether they hibernate. They team up to hunt. That's kind of cool. You rarely see them out and about, quite honestly. I've not ever seen. So that field looks a lot like a field you'd see prairie dogs in. And I'm not sure those animals we're seeing there are not. It's a coyote in the middle, but those others don't look to me like badgers. They look like prairie dog. Although, no, you know what? That one next to that coyote does look like a badger. We don't have any places where it's, at least I've seen that they're that heavily overgrazed. So you don't see the badger holes so obvious as that is. Keep going, Mark. So they team up to hunt. Honey badgers are tough. And see, I don't know if we have the honey badger around here. My dog's just crying big time. Honey badgers being fearless. Um, I'm not seeing anything there that's Eurasian badger share. Again, we saw that. Oh, it looks like they'll even share with other species, other kinds of animals. There's the smallest ones. So those are probably the ones that are like 2 pounds. Hog badger is vulnerable. Looks like it's one that's a little bit lower in population. All right. Well, it looks like we've got some that even protects them. So, I mean, there's an entity that protects badgers, which is cool. Yeah, that told us the stuff I was looking for. I haven't been to Tree Hugger in a long time. That's a website that's been around for a long time, publishes lots of good stuff. And I'm going to need to put my blinds down. As you can see, that's light coming in that'll be right in my eyes in a second here. So I'm going to just walk over and put that down. Right back.
Okay, so Alicia put um, videos that show badgers. We could be showing some of those today.
About that, what did she say about badgers?
Yeah, Alicia put a video in the chat. So we might look at that if we want, or anybody can click that and look at it.
Notice I have my camera cleaned off, Mark. Whatever that was on the
Yeah,
lens, not
yes,
that problem anymore.
right. It looks a lot clear now.
Yeah. Just moving that a little bit up. All right. What other comments or questions, Mark, is in the chat? Videos of badgers. Okay.
Paresh gave you a compliment on your haircut. You're looking younger. That's great.
That's nice of you. Um, and you know, I've commented on this before because we're now past the middle. No, not quite yet. We're not quite to the middle of our 10th year. So we will have our 10th anniversary coming up next June 6th. But I'm going to get completely white in terms of my hair, and I haven't. If anything, I've even gotten, I think, lost a little bit of whiteness on the top of my head. I'm white pretty consistently over on the edges. This side is weird because that looks like that's a big skin color. That's not. That's actually light dark hair. That is my natural hair color. That's a mole there. But that's the natural hair color, just like that's another little chunk of because the haircut guy cut across here. Um, excuse me, the gal. It was a lady that was cutting my hair. And on this side, I don't really have as much of that darker hair. It's more white. Anyway, it is what it is. Again, economics. I am in the middle of not starting, but moving forward more businesses right now than I've done in a long time. And over the next several months, I will talk more about some of those in our webinars. But it is amazing how much help you can get now. Do I get it colored? Paresh asked. No, I do not get. I've never had any kind of color into my hair. It's all natural. Yeah. Anything you see there, or the lack thereof it, is natural. I've started to say using AI to help create business plans and business ideas. If you are excited about something economic that you want to start or use in a business, you want to acquire a business, you want to do something of that nature, boy, you're missing something if you don't use one or more of the AI solutions that are out there. And there are a lot of people who have made businesses for themselves, taking those solutions and making products that are very specific that will do certain things for you when you don't really need that. The reality is they all are using either DeepSeek, which is the Chinese version of an AI product, Grok, which was one that Elon Musk created, or OpenAI, which their product name is ChatGPT. I have used more often than any of them OpenAI and ChatGPT. It seems like they're updating it more frequently than either Grok or, oh, by the way, Google has Gemini, which is another one, and Meta has one, and I can't think of what Facebook/Meta calls the one that they have. But if you don't come up with some specific questions and things, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and for those in the audience, and we're going to do a little bit of online research while we're here, and to show you just how much you can get if you just are a little diligent in doing searches and doing different types of questions and things that you ask. Having good prompts on ChatGPT or Grok or any of the others. So, question. Who in the audience has got a desire, that's all it needs to be, to maybe start some kind of a business, and you are not exactly sure what you ought to be doing to get it started. I'm going to name somebody that has already been named. Paresh, thank you for your comments. I know that Paresh would like to help farmers in India become more green, become more economic, land preserving, do less devastation of resources than they are doing. I have been trying to convince American farmers to do that same thing for a long period of time. And some have, not nearly as many as probably should or I would like, but some have. Anyway, I wish 20 years ago I would have had ChatGPT. I would have been way more efficient in the things that I do in business. So what does anybody have as an idea? If not, I'm just going to pick one out and do it and show you, because I think some of you might be shocked in a positive way with the degree of detail that you can get using these AI solutions. Alicia, you're appropriately fascinated over the last, what, 2 months maybe, with soil health, and she just put up a post about an article about soil memory, and that's going to enhance plant resilience to drought. That'd be a fun one to turn on here and look at. It is in Bioengineer. I'm not sharing my screen. I'm just kind of reading this. It's pretty cool. I'm not going to read a lot more of this, but there's research that to me is pretty obvious, but that is showing, and this is very recently published on the 30th of October, that soils that are in grassland areas in the US, which are very dry, have rainfall of, desert-like circumstances, that the microorganisms that grow in the soils in those areas are adapted to dry soils. Because of that, they create hormones that will stimulate the cells in plants that are going to be growing, the grasses themselves, that will cause those grasses to be more drought tolerant. And yet, in soils that are more moist, in areas where rainfall is greater, you won't find those same kinds of microorganisms. That just makes a lot of sense, quite honestly. And so that's some recent research. See, the next article that Alicia was referring to was this one real quick. Wetlands quietly clean up pollution and save communities millions. And this is in earth.com. And I've talked about this a lot, everybody. If there's any chance you have to enhance wetlands, you should take it and do something with it. And this is one where some researchers from two different universities looked at wetlands that were created through a federal program that pays landowners to retire farmland and let them return to wetland. And if you recall, that is a natural process. Low-lying land will fill more and more over time, and it'll move away from being a wetland if there's a lot of sediment. But if a big rainfall event occurs and a flooding process occurs, it actually will deepen that area again, and it will actually go back to being maybe initially a pond, but then settlement's going to come back in and it'll become a wetland. And if you could then keep that wetland, you are going to increase the productivity of land that's around it. And because the wetland itself will reduce levels of nitrogen and phosphorus that are pollutants because of fertilizers used in traditional agriculture where those wetlands might be. So creating wetlands is a wonderful rejuvenating process and regenerative process for a farmer or a rancher to be working on. So again, this is showing how well nitrogen was removed. Phosphorus, and on the other hand, it says didn't show a strong response in the long term. There were some improvements downstream, but not much. Here's another one. All that nitrogen has a side effect. It costs cities money. Drinking water has to meet federal safety standards, so treatment plants work hard to clean it up before it reaches people's homes. So as nitrogen levels go up, so do the costs to get safe drinking water. According to this study, restoring 100 acres of wetland in a small watershed could save public water systems up to $17,000 a year in treatment costs spread across the region. The savings adds up fast. Yeah, it would, because that's just a tiny wetland at 100 acres. In total, all these wetlands, if they're properly managed, could save local governments up to $200 million a year. Recent Supreme Court decision says that only wetlands next to navigable waters like rivers and streams fall under the Clean Water Act, which means this is where it puts a lot of wetlands, if they're not next to a river or a stream, at the risk of being developed. Losing these wetlands could take away the clean water and savings they provide. That is true. And it's getting to where the only place we really can develop in some places, because they're so densely populated, are wetlands. And that's not something that we probably should be doing as much as is being done. All right, let me look real quick back at some other comments. If my dogs, two of them out in a kennel that's not very far from me, probably as if it was a straight line, they'd be 15 feet away. But this wall right here is in between me and them, and they're that way, 15 feet. But I hear them either crying or playing. I think they're actually playing, so they're not crying. This is our first webinar since the time change, which occurred here in the United States. It didn't occur in a lot of other parts of the world, but so our clocks fell back, which means it gets dark earlier and gets light earlier in the morning, but the days are also still shortening until we get the end of fall on the solstice in December. So we'll have another still rest of November and 2 months. Let's see, not quite 2 months, 7 weeks where days are going to continue to get shorter. And normally we wouldn't have the glare in my window for the webinar, so I don't usually think about closing the blinds because it's just not, the sun's not going to that level in the sky. So I'm going to use ChatGPT to show you some things. So we're going to pick a topic out. So I'm going to share my screen. So you're seeing my this wetlands article, right, Mark?
Yeah.
Gosh, I hate how Zoom it puts so in my case it puts my button bar up at the top of my screen. So this is in ChatGPT, and I had done a search here for something, and I'm going to do a new one. I actually have 3 different accounts, so I'm going to pick this one, I think. Switch. Actually, they're both opened up to this one right now. So we're going to do a new chat. We're going to do ChatGPT 5 thinking. And we're going to say, I want to teach farmers in developing countries, specifically India, to use regenerative agriculture practices rather than traditional industrial practices. Specifically, I want to target banana farmers. Can you help me? What do you think it's going to say? Mark?
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
It'll absolutely say,
great
that is a
question.
great idea.
Yes.
That is just a phenomenal idea. I will absolutely help you with that.
Yep.
So it's thinking right now. Again, remember, I put it in this thinking mode.
Yeah, it'll probably take a few seconds. There you go.
Absolutely. I can help you design a practical farmer first program to introduce regenerative practices to banana growers in India. Below is a complete, ready to run blueprint you can start using right away. Curriculum, package of practices, budgets, partner maps, simple tools. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Target farmer, 1 to 3 acres of bananas, limited cash for inputs, depends on family labor, sells to a local trader, faces water stress, soil fatigue, pests. That's probably all very true. Rising fertilizer costs. Value promise, lower the input costs, make more resilient plants, healthier soils, reduce disease pressure, better bunch weight and quality, and access to niche buyers over time, chemical residue conscious and PGS organic. All right. Well, what's the model? A hub and spoke cluster, 12-week curriculum. Not very long, everybody. That's not too long for that kind of teaching. Banana regenerative set of practices, package of practices, a P, 1 acre starter. simple bio input. I mean, this is amazing. This would take hours and hours and hours to do 2 years ago. Hours. No, I mean, and the person wanting to do this would run away because they'd go, I can't do this. Way too much. And
Days,
there's
I would say days.
so then it
Days.
says, if you want, I can generate the first 3 handouts, week of 1 to 3, and the field scorecard right now in printable format. Yeah, let's do that. So I just quickly say, be this. Oops, start here. Paste. All you have to do then is just hit, yep, do it for me. And I had this in thinking mode. I mean, if I didn't put it, if I used one of these other, either auto or instant, it would not be this complete. And I don't mind it because it's just taking us seconds longer. Oops. Was it done? I don't think that was done yet. No, it's not. Still thinking. It actually is showing activity over here, which I don't really want it to do. I don't know anything about banana farming. I know a lot about regenerative generally, and it's the same principles, but you just have to then specifically apply it. That's what local farmers want. They're going to laugh at you if you just say, well, Mark Shepard does it. Well, when was Mark Shepard? When did he grow a banana last? He didn't. So you really need to, and I'm going to ask it that. So you can go ahead here, and I will. I'm going to, okay, all set. Here's your first 3 handouts. Remember, I just asked it for handouts. So let's see what it did. So I'm going to download this one. I'm just going to go up there, and there it is. And I'm going to print it. Farmer handout, printer print Finley for the banana regenerative program. What you'll learn today. I think it's literally start. You'll understand the banana plant parts. You'll identify stuff. All this on one page. You know, again, it'll make little mistakes, like right down here. Instead of it had some of these descriptions run over in this little chart. You can repair that if you want, which you would if you were going to be giving this out to farmers. You'd want to get this. All you have to do is make this box a little larger, which means you wouldn't, if you had some kind of a Adobe editor, it would do it, or you could put this into a Google format with with docs, and it'll allow you really pretty easily to edit it. All right, that's number 1. So I've already downloaded it, so I don't need to do it again. But then let's go back. Come on. Let's look at this field scorecard. What's going to be wrong with the field scorecard, Mark? There's going to be one thing that's wrong with it. Mark, what's going to be wrong with this?
What is that?
What is going to be wrong with it? It's going to have it's going to have some mistakes on the scorecard.
Yeah. some spelling maybe misspelled?
No, it's going to overlap like this did. It's got these
Okay.
columns that are not wide enough. I thought that's probably what it'd do. The scorecard needs to be wider. So this is,
Okay.
it's going to take a little editing to get it to where it would work, but that's not a lot of work. But it did exactly as I thought it would. It overlapped on the columns. All right. So now we're going to go back. So I'm not going to worry about that. Those are easy changes. We're going to go back to ChatGPT. And we're going to say, all right. This is excellent. I want to teach this course to farmers in my region, and they are going to be very skeptical. What can I do to convince them to listen and attend with open minds? So it already knows me. Notice that it said Institute of Economics at the bottom of these. It's learned me from using it for 2 years. It knows that I'm economic. It knows that I care about regenerative things. There's it's now given me how to hold a meeting with the group. And it's saying it doesn't need to be live. It can be a WhatsApp group. It's going in there. And maybe it's look at this, it did this in Hindi. Paresh should tell us is that appropriate? Is it giving you the language that people would speak? Here. Live demos in a farmer's field. All right.
I should probably unmute Paresh and let him decide. So,
And if you'd
well,
like.
hello, Paresh. You're
Yeah, good morning, doctor. Yes, yes. Hi, hi, doctor.
Hello. Nice to see you or hear your voice.
Not sure if I'm able to on my video.
So, what are your thoughts about whether something like this would work?
Yes, yes, definitely, doctor. So I was chatting as well, trying to post chats as well. So it's really great. So definitely we can build something on this. Yeah, it looks great.
Do you have enough credibility in your community that people would listen to you?
As of now, no. So that is why I'm building myself the way you are working closely and doing multiple things. So that is why I'm working on myself. So I want to be financially freedom free. Uh, I'm learning agriculture. I'm learning AI. I'm learning data science. So I'm learning a lot of things. So I'll be ready to be kind of the way you are. What you can say, helping the community. So unless and until you become something, people will not listen you. So that is what I'm trying to do. That so I'm spending time and investing in myself to become something that everybody will listen to you. But the way you have shown is a really great path, Doctor. So I was also trying to paste a chat that once we done, so just share this link so that even I can build on something on this. Yeah, really great.
I have no worry at all. And Mark, you can tell the audience if you think I'm right when I'm going to say what I'm going to say next. And other audience members could also weigh in. If somehow I put this program in front of, I don't care what part of the world they're in, as long as I could speak their language, as long as I somehow could communicate with them, that I'd get listeners, and we would make some huge changes. Some people would change what they're doing and do it in a more regenerative way.
Yeah, doctor. So yeah, so this
But
reply
I don't have
is
the
in
time.
Hindi.
And there's no way in the world
Yeah,
I'm going to get over
yeah,
there to do it.
these all replies are in Hindi, and it is a national language of India. So you can go to any state of India, so everybody knows this language. So it is an what I can say, it is national language of India. As you know that India is diverse, so in every state we have 100 plus languages are spoken in India. So this is the only language that is a mediator. So whatever is the local language, everyone knows this Hindi language.
Putting in here a new search that said, how can I find a young Hindi farmer in my region that will be an advocate for this type of program and will be willing to be taught and then become a teacher
Mentor, teacher.
themselves. Just see what this tells us now. One of the things that I'm doing here in this country is working on trying to create a program for acquisition of businesses that are currently owned and operated by people over 65 years old who do not have succession plans for what will happen with their business should they die, either 10 years in the future or right away or even longer. That number in the United States, and I can't imagine it be any lower in a percentage wise, at least anywhere else in the world. That number in the United States is 13 million. There are 13 million small business owners of businesses in the US that are over 65 and have no succession plan. So therefore, if they would die, let's say their family is still alive, their family's already indicated to them, we don't want to be involved. We don't want to take over your stupid business. And we've got our own lives and we don't want, so we're not your, your outcome. If there was a whole bunch of money available, I'm sure there'd be a little different attitude, which is, shoot, we're just going to shut your business down, going to take all the money that you've made from it and put it in our pockets. That's an approach, and maybe in some cases it can work. Of those 13 million, though, more than 70% of them do not have cash available. They have assets, they have land, they have equipment, they have knowledge, they have an employee group. So, by the way, this is not just single person businesses. This is businesses of all sizes. And I'll give an example. My daughter is involved in one. She's involved with an accounting firm that she's worked at for more than 10 years. And the owners of the firm are in their early 70s. For the last 5 years, every year they say they're going to retire. They do not have any of their family that wants to take over the business. So therefore, they have told my daughter that when we decide to retire, it's going to be your business. Well,
Great, doctor.
She doesn't think that that's ever going to happen now. I mean, she's just worried that it'll ever happen. They have no real incentive to do it. At least she doesn't feel like they do. And she's not an aggressive person. Accountants aren't. And she's not willing to sort of force them and say, hey, I'm going to quit if you don't put together a plan and show me a way that this is going to become mine. So anyway, it's a problem. It's a huge problem throughout the world with our generation, the baby boomers, getting to the point where they are going to be passing those businesses on or having them fail. So I'm sure that is the case even with these farmers and a number of them. Here's the way to get people to come.
Yeah, absolutely rightly identified, doctor. So yesterday, even my mom also came. So who is handling my land as of now. So we were in discussions on the similar kind of line that you just spoke, and we just spoke about farming. So, but your vision is too wide, and you have that insight and numbers as well with the kind of what I can say legacy that is not there, successors are not there. So I really say universal gratitude to get in touch with a person like you who has that kind of vision in mind. So the thought that you just placed, it just blown my mind, doctor. So my mind is just started thinking on that lines as well. The way you spoke is a truth, and if someone really what I can say, lay down a structure to it. So it is absolutely possible to create a multi-layer business the way you spoke. And the way I got connected to you. So there are n number of such kind of the way I'm wanted to do something. So that we will get many of such kind of young people in India that will love to do that, but definitely there is a lack of what I can say guidance, knowledge, or mentor that we can say. And yes, actually, it actually blown my mind and created a lot of thoughts in my mind. And yeah, hats off to you again. And yeah, let's see how we will move ahead. Not sure, but definitely we will do a really big thing in future.
Make sure to go into ChatGPT after we're done with this. And actually, no, you don't even have to do that. I'm going to share this Google Doc with you. So then you can just put it in the chat so that anybody can get it. So just, this is shared and let me get the link. Actually, I'll share the link in the chat and anybody can pull it off. Let's do the link here. Okay, I'm going to put the link in the chat. We are right at the top of the hour, so this is good timing. Let me find the chat. It's got to come down here. Come on, here we go. Here is the chat. Here is the link to a Google Doc that you can grab, Bresh, and anybody else can if they'd like. That'll have just this little bit that we've done here on AI and describing about how to do this course and to work with these people. And again, you know what? If I was 20 years younger, I would love to take this on and go to a place in the world and work with somebody and do it. I have too many dreams and goals myself, and too many things that I can help people right within 5 miles of where I live. That where there needs to be, and maybe it's not 5 miles, but within 100 miles. And so I'm more than happy to help and do what I'm doing here and do whatever, but I'm obviously not the right person to be the leader. Somebody needs to take that kind of role. I'm looking, by the way, for a young me right now, somebody that would be in their 30s probably. I have a place for them to live. They can not have to worry about making any income for some period of time because they'll get all their food and have a vehicle if they need one and so on to work on. And I want to mentor someone who wants to do the kinds of things that are out there to be done to help the world. So if anybody knows anybody like that, we can talk about it. Anyway, what else, Mark? Anything else to?
Doctor, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy to be one of that.
Whoa, somebody wrote a lot of stuff here. Alicia did. She's just verifying this lack of plans that people have. All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour. You guys have always been great. I hope everybody that watches this in the replay will also get some value from it. Thank you. And we will, do we have, we're having a lot more guests now. Do we have anybody next week, Mark? I don't remember whether we're.
Yes, it's Ronaldo next Wednesday.
Next week. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll be doing Talk with Wayne too. And then not too far off, sometime in November, we'll have William Horvath, who did a multiple 14 sessions with us previously. He's in Croatia. So, yep, young mentors are needed to help in the world, that's for sure.